Our value with our flex pays, with our free shipping, and our configuration, because we're including a 4-coin grading certificate. Don't miss out. It's coming up in about maybe a half hour. It's really exciting. But let's talk about some fun things here, Mike Mezak.
I am telling you, this is a $2 silver coin. This is, you can do the music. Dum, dum, dum. You have to understand, this has never been done. I just got these. I moved heaven and earth to get this coin here. We had to fly. I've got thousands of dollars in airline tickets involved getting this coin here. This is the official licensed. Well, what happens is that is the that's the case. The case is protecting the coins. This is the official solid silver Darth Vader $2 silver coin made by the New Zealand Mint. As you can see, officially licensed, here's the key, 250,000 in existence. There's the mark of the New Zealand Mint right there. That you're gonna, only 250,000. Now, I have been a long time purchaser from the New Zealand Mint. My entire allocation was 2,000 coins.
That's it?
That's it. I got not even 1% of the mintage. Understand, these coins are solid silver. And there's, you can see, there's Queen Elizabeth that you're going to have in there, $2, 2017.
Darth Vader is such an iconic character and so beloved.
I mean, not only, I mean, just in every way, shape, or form. I'm going to put that right there so that you can see that. Cool. I mean, it is just truly, and it is solid silver. $49.95. I must say, in silver, this is by far and away the most affordable Star Wars collectible in solid silver that has ever been offered anytime, any place, anywhere.
It's a silly price.
Yeah, it does, because you would assume most of our silver Star Wars coins are $139, $149. Absolutely. I have a little, I have one coming up here that's a special limited edition. I think we're, what's the next coin? It's
$159.
$159. Those are the normal prices for those because of the display boxes and all. But in terms of pure silver, in terms of certified, or in terms of authenticated, in terms of fully licensed, in terms of all of that, at $49.95, we've never done. It's the first time they've done the solid silver character coin. I think that's important. Darth Vader, obviously, is probably the one to bring out. And as you can see, I would buy multiples. These are 100% sold out from the New Zealand Mint.
Where's our lightsabers?
Yeah, that's right. You should have done all that stuff.
We should have had your boys in here.
These are, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
they would have loved that.
Kids.
Here's the certificate of authenticity from the New Zealand Mint with the limited mintage of only 250,000. I'll put that in there.
That's for someone who's new and we're starting to build our coin collection, or maybe making our first purchase for the first time. You always talk about rarity and the mintage. You know, the lower the mintage, the better, right?
Well, if you look at mintage, 250,000. That's how many they made of the 20th anniversary American Silver Eagle.
Okay.
Okay, same mintage, 250,000. That coin's $1,000.
Right.
This same amount of silver.
Right. And there are
that's right. This coin's $49.95. And there's a little crossover appeal with the Star Wars thing.
Sure.
I mean, just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little. My guess is, are there more? And people ask me, so you think there's more than 250,000 Star Wars fans? Oh, come on.
Please.
I mean, I could throw a rock and probably hit 250,000 Star Wars fans.
We could have it in our
maybe I did when I was younger. Now I can only hit about 50,000. So what you got with this is an amazing opportunity, but you hit the nail on the head.
I did.
Price.
Absolutely. I mean, because honestly, when we have presented other Star Wars coins previously, they're at $139, $149, even $200. So to be able, if you're a collector, even for your kids, your grandchildren, that's okay, I'll keep it. Even for your grandchildren to be able to give to them, if they are a Star Wars fan, maybe you're watching it for the first time with them, this would be fantastic. 566-928, and it's not breaking the bank. And you know what? It's silver. Come on.